So when we talk about volume, according to what's called the stimulating reps theory or model, it's basically it's how we count contractions. And it's more specifically contractions that cause mechanical tension. And when we count the contractions that cause mechanical tension, we can get a good sense of how much we're actually doing. And for the most part, probably only the last 5 reps of each set cause hypertrophy. Now, when there's a high degree of force in an active muscle fiber, that is evident when there's an involuntary slowing of the bar speed. So let me say that another way. The tension builds up so much that you can no longer keep the same speed of contraction, and it's not something that you have conscious control over. And that's what I mean by there's a high degree of force within the activated muscle fibers, and is evident by slowing of the bar path. And this is essentially what mechanical tension is. And what we're finding with, if we consider this model of way of thinking, for maximum muscle growth, and let me take a moment here. You want maximal muscle growth in 2 cases. When you're in a calorie deficit, because maximal muscle growth in a calorie deficit means that you maintain the most. You're not gaining muscle, you're just trying to maintain as much as humanly possible so that you're only burning fat. Or when you're at calorie surplus, it's the most amount of muscle you can grow. So in both cases, hypertrophy is technically your goal. And I know a lot of people don't look at it that way, but that's essentially what's happening here. So for max muscle growth, you need to find an effective range. And if we start looking at the research and you did 1 set, about 29 hours of muscle protein synthesis is increased after that. It's myofibrillar, if you want to call it that. For 3 sets, it's about 29 hours, but it's at 130% of what normally would happen. At 8 sets, it's about 48 hours of stimulated or elevated muscle protein synthesis. Possibly. There's some research that shows that. But then when we look at 12 sets, it's negligible. There's no much more difference. You find the majority of the benefit within the first few sets, if we want to call it that. So if we look at this research, the conclusion is that the more sets you do, the more you actually have to recover from. But you're not necessarily getting more growth out of that. So sometimes you're doing what some people call junk volume. You're doing more sets, but you're not getting more benefit out of it. So the other factor where it comes to muscle growth is rest. And it would seem that increasing your rest to more than 2 minutes decreases the need for volume. So much so that at the same amount of rest, at 2 minutes or more, if you didn't take that much rest, you get the same results as shorter rest, but 2 times the volume. So if you don't rest for 2 minutes, you have to do twice the amount of volume to get the same amount of results. So it seemed like you need effective reps and you need effective rest, really. And this sweet spot tends to be between 4 to 6 sets per muscle group per workout, based on you getting enough rest, of course. So based on the assumption, you only need to hit each muscle directly every 5 days. So each muscle 1 to 2 times a week is what you want to hit. Some people call that a bro split, some call that a bodybuilder split, whatever you want to call it. It would seem like you need to hit this muscle 1 to 2 times a week at this effective set range of 4 to 6, making sure the last few reps that we're counting are those effective reps. Remember, the last 5 reps of each set is the most important. That's why you have to challenge yourself with a little bit more weight. If you did 20 reps, really only the last 15 to 20 reps are the ones that count. And think about that. You have to do all those reps for what reason? So here we are, 4 to 6 reps, get 2 more minutes of rest, hit that sweet spot so you get another effective effective reps, and make sure you're hitting each muscle group maybe once to twice a week, every 5 days or so.